Also, who are the psychopaths that listen to everything at double speed?
I do that.
You do that?
Of course.
Why do people do that?
Half speed, I would never. I don't know why half speed is even an option. But double speed, I listen to, yeah.
You don't want to miss any details.
It depends on what you're listening to, but my brain can process way faster than people can talk.
It can.
And
Doesn't mean it should.
Because, no, it should.
No, because then you're processing. Wait, God gave you a speech cadence for a reason.
God gave me Apple Podcasts with 2x speed.
He did. But
look. The thing is, I got a lot of stuff to listen to, and I like to get through stuff, and I let it. And if I'm at the point where I don't understand stuff, I slow down.
You gotta get through stuff.
What?
That's a psychopath reasoning. I gotta listen to all this
no
podcast.
No, it's like I'm usually learning stuff, or it's like, well, okay, like I'll listen to podcasts, and if it's like a story podcast, like they're telling a story and it's atmospheric, I never listen at 2 speed.
Okay.
It's a 1 speed thing.
Okay.
But if it's like a discussion or an interview, or like I listen to a lot of theology crap, it's like I can if it's information that my brain is able to process faster, I will, because it's like reading. And the same with audiobooks. Audiobooks I'll listen to at even 3 speed sometimes. If it's a simple book but if it's like a dense book that I don't understand, if it's too fast, I need to slow it down.
So
but I'll listen to it as fast as I can without it losing stuff, because when I'm reading a physical book, I can read way faster than a podcast can
you would
speak.
talk.
Yeah.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
So you want to know the most recent book I tried to listen to on audiobook?
Let me guess.
Sure.
Was it difficult?
It's impossible.
The Silmarillion.
It's the Silmarillion. Yes.
Yes.
I was trying to listen. Every time I would turn it on, I'd sit, I'd make a drink.
I can't believe I guessed that. Hold on, wait. That's crazy. I can't believe I guessed that. Okay.
I thought you kind of knew where I was going. I thought
no,
we talked about
I only
that.
guessed it because I just bought it on Audible.
Really?
The Andy Serkis one that just came out. Yeah.
Oh, that one that just came out?
Well, I don't know. The one that Andy Serkis narrates.
I think that's the one I tried to listen to.
It was sometime in the past few years he came out.
It was good, but I would try to listen. So I have like a speaker system at home, and I would turn it on, and I'd sit in my chair, and every time it would put me right to sleep.
Yeah.
I could not get through that.
That's like listening to the
Quran.
And the Quran on audiobook, or the annotated history of the Union during the Civil War.
Or anything.
It's a history book, basically, that
The
you're listening to.
encyclopedia from like 1845.
Yeah, you're listening to the Encyclopedia Britannica in a foreign language.
It's like, yeah.
I bought the audiobook because I'm going to listen to it while I read it. I do that with books every now and then, especially if it's something dense that I really need to understand.
Right.
If I listen to it while I physically read the book, then it helps. Because sometimes you'll read a sentence and you don't understand it, but if you hear someone, like the way they phrase it, you're like, oh, okay, I understand what that was supposed to mean.
And maybe that's how I need to do it, because I got about a little over a quarter into the book before I'm like, oh my gosh.
You realize you had no idea what was happening.
I can't.
I read the
continue.
Silmarillion once, and I read it all the way through. And that was in 8th grade.
Good grief.
And that tells you how boring Miss Vader's class was. Dude.
You know, in 8th grade, no, it was freshman year. In freshman year, I finished the Aragon series. No, I didn't finish it. I got to the last book again, and for some reason I stopped.
I've never finished it because when I read those books, there were only 3. Inheritance wasn't out yet. It was just
I have them all.
was the 3rd one.
I recently found them all at a garage sale. I got one signed by the guy.
By the time the 4th, you got it signed?
Yeah, I got the original, the Brissinger. No, Brissinger. It was Eldest. Signed. Yeah. Got it for $1.
It's crazy.
I don't know.
To be fair, the guy
probably
he's like 14 when he wrote those.
Yeah.
So
well, again, he's smarter at 14 than I am at 25.
True. The thing is about those books, though, you can read those quick because those are like ultimate entertaining fantasy. Like they're like the opposite of Tolkien. They're not like that intricate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're like Star Wars. They're basically Star Wars in fantasy form.
The thing about Tolkien
Just
though is
Star
he paved the road for every other fantasy novel.
Yeah.
When you say elves, you're like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Tolkien had to go into like the lore of what elves are.
He created it. The guy made
orcs, elves, hobbits, wizards. Probably didn't make wizards, but
he made them what we think of as, though. You know what I'm saying? He
as the Eldritch Knights of D&D.
What a guy.
Did you play D&D? Now, okay, Dream D&D rotation. You know how people say blunt rotation?
Sure. So D&D rotation.
Dream D&D rotation. Who would you like to play with? Who would you like to be your DM?
So I've seen the memes about It's the memes where the guy gets progressively more excited, like he's like going, oh, it's like
Oh
he's
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
those
yeah,
memes,
yeah.
and it's like you die.
The
You-
wrestling.
you
It was the
get-
wrestling coach.
Yeah, and
Or
it's like you
wrestling-
die.
WWE.
Yeah, it's the guy who used to be the commissioner of the WWE. What's his
Yeah,
name?
I don't know. Randy Savage.
And it's like you die, you get to heaven. You get to heaven. All your friends are there. They say we've been waiting for you. They're playing D&D.
Yeah.
J.R.R. Tolkien's the DM. It's like
Yes.
yeah. So I've seen that. So I get that. Dream D&D rotation. Tolkien would be in there, but he would have to be DM. It would not work. He could not.
He would not be fun to
He
play
could
with.
not be a player.
He would be like a lawful good paladin and like adhere everyone to the rules.
And he
You're
would
like,
just
oh.
like talk your ear off. No, he'd have to be DM. And then
He might imagine if he makes a puzzle for your team.
No, never. Well, I don't know though. Melon is a pretty simple puzzle.
Yeah,
Remember?
I guess you're right.
It's just the Elvish word for friend. It's like that's not that.
Yeah.
complicated. I could solve this puzzle.
You have to know Elvish.
Well, yeah. But then I'd throw C.S. Lewis in there because he'd be the only guy that could get under Tolkien's skin.
Yeah,
being his
yeah.
best friend. He'd be, you get that dynamic going. And then I'd throw in somebody wild who both of them would hate. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy who wrote Game of Thrones, R.R. Martin.
Ooh.
They would hate him. They would both hate him, and
Oh,
he
'cause
would
he's
love them. He would be like,
Oh, he would be-
I love you guys."
Right.
They'd be like, "Your books suck," and then they would just not want to talk to him.
He's such a real life dork.
He's such a dork. Yeah.
Like it's amazing how
Yeah.
his books took off because of the TV series. Good for him.
And then I'd probably throw in, I'd want a wild card that isn't a writer or a fantasy person. So I'd probably throw in like Richard Pryor
Yeah.
or like George Carlin, some comedian. No,
Yeah.
no. Norm Macdonald. I'd throw in Norm
Norm
Macdonald.
Macdonald. Oh.
And then,
He would have to be the what's it called? Bard.
mhm,
Where he's like
absolutely.
get yourself in and out of situations. Yeah.
And then I think to cap it off, I'd throw in like Hitler. Just like
Why?
it's you just need a mix. You need
Right.
everyone else in
Okay.
that group hates Hitler, so just
That
throw in
would
Hitler.
Not be a fun,
We all the rest of my homies hate Hitler.
just casually throw in Mussolini.
Yeah.
Just play with the dictators of the world and watch them.
If I was going to throw in a dictator to that mix, it'd be Kim Jong Un.
You
It'd
think-
have to be Fatty Boy Kim Jong Un.
It is translator.
Yeah. Or maybe a historical figure. Like, assuming that there's some translating technology that we can all speak.
Joan of Arc.
Yeah. Or like
She
Genghis
lived
Khan.
D&D.
Joan of Arc did live D&D. She
So
lived,
did Genghis Khan.
but from different roles. Very different perspectives. Yeah. Or just like the Apostle Peter. Just like throw him in the mix.
You know, I wonder how fun he would be at D&D. I wonder if he has
You're
like.
right. No, Bartholomew. He'd be the man.
I think he'd be the man.
Yeah.
Judas.
Judas.
Man, why you always?
Yeah, he's just keeping track of the money, the group's money. He'd be
Right.
the guy taking notes.
Right. We all know you're not lawful evil.
Yeah.
Judas.
He's like, I promise my alignment is lawful good. And what? Oh, yeah, throw him in there.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's what I think of when I think of Judas.
Oh, wow. Anyway, so what the heck are we talking about?
Well,
Where
I
did
was going to go through my dream rotation.
Yeah, no, let's go for it.
It'd probably be Amy Schumer, Whoopi Goldberg,
Oh my. The rest of the View.
what's her? Greta Thunberg, Andrew Tate, and then
Throw Andrew Tate in with
Yeah.
those girls.
and then probably either Will Ferrell or Will Arnett as the DM.
Will Arnett's the better choice there.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so. That's that's a psychopath group.
I would
right
just
there.
film it. I'd just write a TV
You ever see
show.
those memes where it's like, which cafeteria table would you sit at? And it's got like different SpongeBob characters or whatever. You pick
Right.
the table you'd like to sit at, but it'll be like historical figures or writers or whatever. That's basically what you're doing. And you just created the one that would destroy the world is what you tried to do. It's like, I don't even know. So yeah, then you got to think, what would just be the most entertaining to watch? If you don't want to play, but you just want to watch them play, then you
show
gotta,
up late.
yeah, you got to throw in like, oh gosh, I mean, yeah, AOC, Throw in the girl from what's the other girl from The View?
I don't
The
know.
other one,
The demon.
the demon one that's like done the illegal stuff.
She's like, "Why are you trying to ruin careers or something?"
Yeah, that one.
Gosh, wicked.
Throw in
evil.
her, and then you'd throw in like I don't know, some generic like lady from Hollywood lady that's just like, oh my gosh, like flustered. Somebody who'd be flustered by anybody saying anything out of pocket, like Anne Hathaway. Throw Anne Hathaway in there.
Sandra Bullock came to mind for me,
yeah. And then you throw in like
Oh my
the
gosh.
guy, or like
Oh my god.
or just like some out of pocket person that would make it, or Trump.
Alex Jones?
Just throw Trump in there, or Alex Jones. Yeah, because
you could rein in the chaos a little bit and throw in somebody like what's his face, super famous podcaster, used to be MMA commenter,
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Throw in Joe Rogan
because he's the guy. He's the ultimate doormat. He's just gonna
try to piece everything.
Well, I don't know. I guess that's not true because sometimes he's kind of an instigator, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. He's a
But then it'd be a podcast, though. It wouldn't be D&D. If you
Right.
throw him in there, he's going to facilitate a conversation.
dream podcast rotation.
Noah Scarce, Joseph Farmer,
My guy.
Zephram Foster.
You're not on my top 10.
Yeah. I'm trying to plug the podcast. We're already like 12 minutes in, and we haven't actually gotten to the topic.
Oh.
So we don't even have to go into it if we don't want. We can save it.
What is the topic?
Well, it was going to be like movies from when you were a kid that you barely remember.
that's
Like
right.
fever dream movies. And I had one I was going to talk about. Which
Which
we
one
could
was that
just
one?
talk about that. That can be it.
Sure.
There's a movie. There's a whole category of movies from when I was a kid that they were the kind of movies they would put on whenever it rained at recess. Like you can't go outside
you
for
can't go
recess.
outside.
So they roll in the cart with the VHS player.
Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, or Boys and Girls Club. They roll in the VHS cart and they put in an old freaking tattered VHS of some movie. And there were a handful of movies that, for me, they put in. There's like things that had to be rated G or rated PG, but the teacher had to have seen it and approved it, kind of thing. And then things that the teacher could just turn their brain off and let you watch. And so some of those, there were a couple Pixar movies that made the rotation. For me, for some reason, Toy Story 2.
That's not a bad one.
That's a great one. Bugs Life was one they played all the time. But then there were some more obscure bad movies that they put on. And one of the ones that I've seen probably 30 times in my life, or at least I've seen half an hour of 30 times because you never have enough time to finish it.
Right.
Recess,
You could only see
is a movie called Like Mike, which is a movie that came out in the 90s, maybe 2000s.
I don't know.
Assuming the 90s. When
I know
it
what you're
its
talking
heyday,
about.
Which was about a kid who wanted to grow up to be Michael Jordan. And the movie starts out with a flashback of Michael Jordan as a kid playing basketball with his dad. And then basically the plot is there's an orphan in an orphanage and he wants to be like Michael Jordan, like Mike. And so he finds a pair of shoes hanging on an electric wire that they're a pair of old Jordans that I guess Jordan used to wear. And when you put them on, they give you his abilities. And the kid just shreds in basketball and goes wild. And like, I forget where the plot goes. I think he eventually ends up getting subbed in on an NBA team.
I was about to say, he eventually makes his way to the top.
Yeah.
He does like dunking contests
Yeah.
and like all kinds of crazy stuff.
And then something happens where like the shoes break and the climax of the movie, he has to like make a free throw to win the game without the shoes.
Right.
And he's like terrified. And then does he make it? He
Yeah.
probably makes it. He probably makes it. And they're like, look, you didn't need the shoes all along. Or it's really about getting adopted. Yeah, it's something like that. It's the same thing as Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah.
Which is like an adoption sports movie.
Right. And
Very specific.
Actually, I've never seen that movie.
I watched that a lot as a kid too, but that was on my own because we had it on VHS. But Like Mike is interesting. I rewatched it as an adult 2 years ago, and I had a great time because of how bad it is.
Yeah.
It's like like everything's terrible. The acting's terrible.
I can imagine the
but it
acting's
captures
really
that specific magic. It's not poorly shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not well shot, but somebody who knew what movies are supposed to look like made it.
Made the movie.
Yeah, and then it's like captures the interesting little magical feeling of everything's going to be okay, like a kid type feeling. Of
Sure.
somebody's looking out for me, and it's going to be all right. That's what the movie's trying to hammer home to
Okay.
you, like a lot of kids' movies. But it's just really dumb. And it's also interesting because it's basically Lord of the Rings. Because those shoes are an evil artifact.
Evil?
Well, so here's the thing.
Okay.
Michael Jordan is not Sauron. It's more like if Sauron accidentally made the ring. You know what I'm saying? It's more like there's something like that happened. Harry Potter. The Horcrux is... Harry Potter is a Horcrux, but it's accidental. He doesn't mean to be one. He just...
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the shoes just got magic from Mike's smelly feet and makes you good at basketball somehow.
Sure.
And the kid gets them, but then he kind of like gets corrupted by them, right? Doesn't like he gets kind of prideful.
He gets cocky. Yeah.
He's like, you know, and then you have to destroy the shoes to
be
come out of the curse
fully
under the
fledged
curse of it.
person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's very interesting. Any thoughts on any of that?
Well, actually, did you know they made a second one?
No.
Like Mike 2.
Are you serious?
I don't know if it's called Like Mike 2.
How do you know this?
Because I've seen them both.
You have?
Because
Like
you mentioned it, and I
Mike
was like, that sounds so familiar. And
You're
I was
right.
thinking, they made a second one.
Dude.
Because the first one...
2006.
I remember enjoying the first one. I remember... Did I say...
Like Mike 2 Street Ball is the name of
Yeah.
it.
Because he was a street ball player, and then like all the guys were super rude to him. No one respected him, and then all of a sudden he got
Yeah.
really good. They're like, "All right, you're on my team now."
The second one actually has a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than the first.
Really?
The first one came out in 2002, has a 57%. And then the second one has like a 60 something.
Wow, that's not what I would expect.
No.
Of course, I don't really remember either one of them that well.
That's crazy. It's on Disney Plus. I'm going to have to go and watch it. Oh, okay.
Are both of them on Disney Plus?
Yes. That's where I watched Like Mike when I rewatched it. So I was wrong. Like Mike 2 does not have a higher score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a higher audience score because it does not have a critic rating at all.
Oh,
There are only 2 critical reviews for Like Mike 2. Nobody watched it. It was probably straight to DVD.
I was about to say it's probably because I remember we got it from the library.
But I will say that actually of the 2 reviews, one is good and one is bad, which means it does have a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Heck yeah!
The good review is from Common Sense Media, and it says, basketball fantasy teaches about teamwork, friendship.
Sure.
The bad review says, in its best moments, it's mediocre. In its worst moments, it's everything rotten that direct-to-video sequels are known to be. Which,
Jeez.
I mean, it sounds like that might be the case. Are there any famous people in this movie? No. Are there any famous people in the first one? Jesse Plemons is in it? Eugene Levy? Crispin Glover?
I don't know these people.
Yeah, you do. You know Eugene Levy
Oh, yeah.
from like the movies we talked about on the last episode.
Yeah.
Crispin Glover's the dad from Back to the Future.
Okay.
And then you've got Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad is in it.
Oh my gosh! I bet Jesse Plemons is a baby, and
Brenda Song, Disney Channel, is in it.
got to easily be like a background character, like a 6-year-old.
It's just crazy that they all were in it, though. That they all made their way to that set.
What they came out in 2006?
The first one was 2002. Second one was 2006.
2002. Yeah, Brenda Song in 2002. She was born in 89. She was a kid. She was a baby.
Yes. Interesting. That was a fun rabbit hole. Do you have anything to add on that?
No, not that specific. I have a lot of movies that, in fact, most movies that I watch, I barely remember. And that's how I go off of them.
Just name one Fever Dream movie, then we'll wrap it up. We can revisit this later.
Okay. There's a movie about this dog that loses his family.
Homeward Bound?
Is that what it is?
Wait, what do you mean when
It's
you
a
say his
super
family?
famous movie. This dog loses his family. And
Like
goes
his
on
human family?
yeah, and he goes on this crazy adventure through all kinds of stuff, and eventually finds them in the mountains, but they're also looking for him.
That's not Homeward Bound. Homeward Bound is one of my Fever Dream movies, and it's the one where all the animals talk, but you
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you like hear their thoughts, like their lips don't move or anything, but they all
Right.
talk, And then I'm pretty sure they're going out into the wilderness to look for their friend. Like I think another dog is missing or something.
Is that what it is?
I think.
There's also another
But
one.
that is one of my
with,
favorite Dream movies.
Rob Lowe. and they lose a dog hiking, and then the whole movie is them like destroying their careers and their life and their marriage, putting everything on hold to like go look for this dog in unimaginable conditions. And then, like, the dad finds respect for his son, and then the son finds respect for his dad.
The kind of movies that have been made.
I know.
It's just crazy.
It's just, and then the whole thing, like, it all works out in the end. And then the dog, like, shows up out of nowhere. They're like, oh, yeah. The Deus Ex Machina calls them. And they're like, oh, you found your dog eating donuts by the dumpster.
The Deus Ex Machina calls them, yeah. So, the Homeward Bound is you're right. I Googled the plot. And it's the fact that they get left. They think they've been left in the wilderness, so they have to find their way back home. But
yeah.
I don't remember. But I will. There's a voice actor for each of the three animals.
Okay, yeah.
And if you can guess one of them, there's three of them.
Okay.
Two of them are people that I know that
Tim
are really
Allen.
famous. No, you're maybe on the right track. If you can guess one of them, I'll give you something.
Something.
I don't know. High five. Because I can give you a hint. One's a man, and the cat's a woman.
Okay.
The man
Makes sense.
was in a famous movie from the 80s that we all love. The woman is in a lot of famous movies. I'm trying to think of what would be the best one to tell you. But let's start there.
80s that we all love.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Harrison Ford.
Nope. A little less famous, but still very famous. Everybody loves this movie. He's the lead role. Played a young person.
Shoot.
He was much older than the character he played, but he played like a teenager.
Tobey Maguire.
No.
Oh.
Right track though, like an old 30. That was 2000s, but this was a movie.
Oh, you
about,
said 80s. That's
yeah,
right.
movie about time travel.
Oh, Jamie
Yeah, Michael J.
Fox.
There you go. Yeah. He played the lead dog,
Okay.
and then the cat was Sally Field.
Oh, okay.
So
I wouldn't have ever.
Aunt May from the bad Spider-Man movies. Actually, I take that back.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man movies. I don't think they're the worst ones. I actually like them better. Looking back, I like them better than the second two Tom Holland ones.
Yeah, the first one was...
the second Tom Holland one. The third one is fun because it brings back everybody.
Yeah.
But the second, like Far From Home, I just
that made
don't
no
like
sense.
that. Yeah.
You're in Britain, and then
Yeah. And
Jake
then
Gyllenhaal
Jake
is-
Gyllenhaal is just ruining stuff.
with drones. Okay.
But it also felt like it didn't feel like Spider-Man. It was just like an
Nothing
Avengers movie. It's all about Tony Stark
They all are. It's all about Robert Downey Jr.
yeah. Speaking of which, Oppenheimer.
Great movie.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a couple
Spoilers.
weeks.
No. The bomb goes off.
No, how dare you? I was gonna watch that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Oppenheimer soon. Hopefully this time with Joe.
That's true. If he ever shows up,
If he ever shows up. We
and
miss you, Joe.
We do, and he's gonna feel like, wow, I missed so many recordings, and he's not gonna realize that they all happened at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean,
same night,
sorry,
yeah.
audience. We definitely plan these in advance.
Yeah. No, if you're wondering why we still don't have a theme song.
Because we're still writing it.
Oh, man.
And it sounds like this.
Bright and bright stars.